Hey crew, Shane coming to you from the Riders Lounge. Today I want to do a bit of an overview on goggles and some goggle tech, and specifically Dragon's OTG series. This is over the glasses. You guys have seen me wear my glasses on the show a ton. I have to wear these usually when I'm riding. I don't like contact lenses, so I discovered the OTG series a couple years ago, and it's been a game changer for me, and I figured it'd be good to talk about this. As we try to do every year, this year I'm going to do a full season test on the Dragon OTG series. Specifically, I'm going to run the RVX mags, which I have here, and the NFX OTG mags, which I have here. Mag, okay, well what is mag? Mag is magnets. So Dragon over the years has come out with, there was a snap system, there's been multi-variations of Swift Lock, and it's evolved into the current state now of Swift Lock, which I really like. Much cleaner than the older versions, which used to be found on the side. This one's right below here. Just pop that open, lens pops open, and away you go. Why are we changing lenses? Well, there's multiple cases that this is going to be something you need to do. Sometimes bad crash, covered in snow, you got another set of lenses in your pocket, boom, you're going to swap out, you can keep riding and then dry those out at the lodge or when you're sitting on the chair. I like to keep a lens really close in my jacket here, keeps it warm, and then just less fogging issues. Fogging, something I'll talk about really quick and we can go into detail later, but the biggest thing is anyone that's getting a lot of fogging, number one, are you wearing your goggles at the top of your head? Don't ever do that. When you're not riding, you're going to have all that hot air flying off right into the goggle interface, and then you're going to have two different temperatures, boom, immediate fog. There's an anti-fog coating on these that is just fantastic, but there's also user error. So that's the first thing. The second is keeping this top venting open and free. Don't worry about helmets. Most of them are designed to allow a lot of free flow there, but you want to make sure you've got air movement from the top through the bottom. That is always going to help you have a fog-free lens. The other thing with these lenses, Dragon has one of the best anti-fog coating I have encountered to date. This, I probably had 60 days 2 seasons ago on the original NFX, and those I never had an issue with. I've worn a helmet, I've just had my beanie, no problem, no issues there. As long as you follow those steps, make sure the venting is on point, there's enough room to flow, watch where your helmet interfaces with it, and go from there. Another thing that's key with Dragons that I really love is this entire top piece is not just foam, but it is a hard shell. Now, that over the years, you'll see the foam break down on other brands. Sometimes if you get a lot of snow there, you can't really clear it properly. With the Dragons, it's easy to clear if you need to, and it's just durable. You're not getting that issue of a breakdown of, you know, who knows what attacking the foam that's on top of your goggle. So that is a Dragon feature that you'll see that on a lot of the models. This one I'm holding the NFX from Danny Davis, I believe from last year here, and this one has it. As I said, it's also going to help that vent really, really well. We have here with the NFX a cylindrical lens. I like these partially for the fashion of it. I really like the looks of these. Let's face it, we're buying goggles because they often look good. It's part of our kit. This is part of how we set ourselves up and get out and sort of your vibe on the resort. But I also like them because the peripherals are amazing. This one, especially on the NFX, I've used a fair bit. You get a really, really good side view. And I like to test that when I'm in a shop. Put your hands out to the side and see how far you have to go till you actually see your fingers. That's going to give you a true sense of peripherals, and that's something you want. As snowboarders, we're crossing side hill, we're often looking through our peripherals. So that's something I really like from this model, from not a goggle that is massive fitting either. So you'll notice in shops, there's a multitude of lenses. Spherical and cylindrical are going to be the two most common. I'm a big fan of cylindrical. Try them both though. Check them both out, see what works for you, but do that peripheral test with any. It's a really, really good idea. Another thing on these, obviously with the anti-fog coating and with the fact that we have triple density foam here, and this is comfort for days. I absolutely love it for durability and giving me a proper nose seal on the bridge of my nose. That's something else that's very important, and another thing you're going to test when you're in a shop. The goggle must be dried at the end of the day and separated. Everything comes with these amazing bags. They're great for cleaning. They're great when I'm taking this goggle apart and popping the bottom, popping the lens out. Give the lens a quick clean here. Something else to keep in mind, the pH in your fingers and the oils in your fingers, that will affect a lens. So we always want to try to keep these clean and sort of hold them like that. I'm not grabbing everything like this. You can, they're incredibly durable, but for longevity's sake, let's just be cautious of that. Always keep the bag with you. This is literally how it's going to live in the pocket in my jacket. So end of day, however, it's all dried separate. That's taken out of the bag. This is dried like this, and everything's laying out separately like that. So you'll also notice with all the Dragon models that, well, the two Dragon models, sorry, that I'm talking about today, the RVX Mag and the NFX, they're going to come with a secondary lens. This is going to be used for night riding. This is going to be used for those really socked in days where it's just hammering snow. It's also just, I'm bringing it with me either in my jacket or in my little backpack because, again, you have a wipeout, you've got a backup. This amber can be used in any situation in that case. If it's sunny, it's not going to be a huge deal. Luma lens, which is proprietary to Dragon, is really, really unique. This cuts 99% of the radiation that we're getting from the sun and just from the environment. And what that's going to do is over the course of the day, you're not going to get extreme eye fatigue. That is something we don't think about, but it is something that truly happens. You're taking in so much information, ripping down the mountain, that eye fatigue is a thing. So anything that can protect us further is going to be advantageous, and Luma lens does just that. The other thing I'll say is it sort of optimizes the optics. It pulls colors where you wouldn't expect it, and if you're riding through sort of trees and you're getting varying shadows, things like that, it sort of evens that out. So put them on in a shop. You're going to have lights in a store. Try to go outside. Try to look at a mountain. Hopefully you can do that. Try to get a sense of what this lens is actually doing outside. You'll be pretty impressed. And I've used this one a ton because, as you guys know, we do the night riding a bunch. The amber's great for night, and then they have a ton of variations for your brighter days. And also just for, I'm going to go back to it, but just for style, they do come out with some of the best blends of color I've seen. So this is the new RVX Mag, OTG Mag. So again, like I said, I'm going to be testing the over the glasses versions. I'm pretty excited to test this one. This is the one I chose to do for this year. Really, really unique design. Has the SwiftLock 2.0 technology. And the power of these magnets, it's not something, back in guiding days, we used to worry about the interference with our beacons. That's not something you have to worry about with these. The magnets they're hidden in there. It's not mega power that's going to start disrupting anything like that. And you'll see the magnet points are one-sided, and then the lever's on the other side with the little hook mechanism. Super clean, on and off, really, really easy. It's again, the OTG compatibility, and then this has the Luma lens color optimized technology from Dragon. Also has their patented frameless design. This, I just like the vibe of it. I like the look of it. It's going to work with my kit, and it's also just going to kick ass when it comes to the peripherals. So, of course, it's helmet compatible. And Dragon sort of talks about this a lot. They do have one of the best anti-fog coatings on the market. So I'm not worried about anything there. I haven't decided which helmet I'm going to run with this yet, but it will interface just fine. Very clean up top there. And you can also see that we have durability for days because it's not just an open foam system at the top. Venting, I'm assuming, is going to be absolutely kick-ass. And again, it comes with a secondary lens, so I'll have my secondary lens for riding at Salmo, doing the tribute night riders that we try to do every Wednesday. And I do want to get into a little bit of history with Dragon. I find that this is a unique brand in the space of snowboarding. The origins were a long time ago, so the story gets exaggerated and so on. So I'll do my best to tell you guys the way that I was told. Dragon started out actually as a sunglass brand down in Cali. Guys making, Will and those guys were just making sunglasses in their garage. And I believe, I don't know how Jamie Lynn was involved, and I really should ask Jamie. We've been trying to get him on the show, and hopefully soon. But my understanding was they were messing around with the Scott frame, which had a real moto vibe to it back then. Because again, early 90s, snowboarding's emerging, trying to create its own identity. And that just had an aggressive shape to it. It looked dope. I loved it. And Jamie wanted a strap. He wanted a Dragon strap to rep Dragon, but they were just going to use the Scott frame. So my understanding was they went to get a one-off strap and order it, and they had it designed up, and somehow somebody added an extra 0 or the factory screwed up, and they ended up with 100 feet of straps instead of 1 foot of strap or whatever it was. So now they have all these straps, and the story evolves where it's like, all right, we got to do something with these. So they ended up making a ton of goggles. We saw Jamie first in, I'm pretty sure it was a Trans World, Dragon goggles. You could see the logo, and all of us, I mean, I was probably 14 at the time, everybody needed to have it. So it was one of those emerging brands that was truly snowboarder based. It was a part of our culture. The skiers weren't using it, and it was pretty rad. Everybody had Dragons throughout that whole period. And on this show, I like to platform and talk about certain things. I consider Dragon sort of one of those heritage brands of snowboarding. They've been around a long time and gone through the whole turbulence that this industry is, and they're still here kicking ass. So yeah, little tidbit there, but I'm excited to try these. I'm really excited to rock these. They're gonna be about a medium fit. I've got a smaller face, so I think the RVX Mag is gonna be really good for me. The NFX is one of our best sellers upstairs, the NFX2. You guys can find those in your local shop, and I would encourage you to do so. Again, make sure you walk out of the store, check this Luma lens out outside. Hopefully it doesn't matter if it's sunny, it's raining, whatever. I just want you to see how it pulls those colors, get a feel for that. You kind of know what I was trying to get at. And in closing, I'm gonna make sure I get the pair of NFX out to one of the crew, so I have somebody else testing with me. And you'll see, like last year, this will pop up in the stories on Instagram, and we'll probably do another thing on Patreon, kind of talking through as we run into things that maybe we love, maybe things that we don't love about it. So appreciate the support, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me on this. I'm gonna be doing a few more of these down the road. And as always, we're brought to you by Cole, James Brand, Spiral Wax, the homies at Sanction Snow, BALDFACE Lodge. We are also brought to you by This Is Coffee, and of course, Tribute Board Shop, where if you're in the Kootenays or in BC, you can get these Dragon goggles through us. See you on the next one.